folks. Welcome to Monday afternoon, early evening, Techthusiasm live podcast. Thanks for showing up. I think we're on, I don't even know actually what number this is in terms of consecutive weeks. I think we're over a month, though, probably 5 or 6 in a row. So keeping the streak alive, keeping the engagement, the conversation alive. Hope everybody had a great week. We definitely did here. Didn't involve a lot of home theater. But it was a really fun week. We were actually gone the majority of the last several days. Left on Wednesday midday, took half a day off, vacation Thursday, Friday off, and headed up northern Michigan. I really like northern Michigan. If you're familiar with the geography or the place at all, we were in Traverse City, Sleeping Bear Dunes, Glen Arbor, Thompsonville, Crystal Mountain, and then on our way home, we also kind of swung west along the Lake Michigan coastline, basically kind of down and then back through Grand Rapids to head back to the southeast greater Detroit area. So basically a couple nights in Grand Rapids and a couple nights in Traverse City, and then a couple nights at Crystal Mountain Ski Hill Resort, which is open year round. We skied there the last 2 years, actually, spring break, which has been awesome, an awesome time to ski. But they're open all summer as well for summertime activities. They have this really cool mountain kind of roller coaster thing where you take the chairlift up, get like basically a sled that rides on some pads, and you go down the hill. There's two of them side by side, so you can kind of race. Nice pool and all that. But yeah, just the family, immediate family. So some fun family time. We've spent a lot of time up in Traverse exploring the peninsulas. There's wineries and just amazing like lakefront view homes and stuff to see up there. I would like to move out there very much. I could definitely live on the Traverse City Old Mission Peninsula with a nice lake view and or Traverse Bay water view and water access in my backyard. So we'll see if that something that comes to pass or not. But really love that. Really love that area. So yeah, we had a good time up there. That was Wednesday. Again, Wednesday we got back a little late last night, and then just another week starting up, back to work this week, engaging with folks about their home theater needs and all that stuff. Have a couple items in transit, kind of moving around as well, and some folks I'm expecting to follow up with some opportunities. Folks interested in Kaleidescape, screens, projectors, and more. So a lot of fun conversations. So that's basically when the bulk of the Techthusiasm work. I was hoping, I think last week I said I'd have the streaming bitrate comparison video published. My employees came up a little short, though. My younger employees that have done the majority of my video editing for the last several months or so. With the vacation and stuff, we just didn't get that video didn't get edited. My daughter tried working on it on the drive up, and it's just that's a hard task to do in a moving car. I'm not a good writer. I can't read or look at my phone in a car, so I don't know how she thought she was going to be editing video on the drive as well. But so we'll reorient that one. Hopefully that video will get it done, and that will come out this Thursday. And then we thought maybe there'd be a special guest for today as well. But that is going to get deferred until next week as well. So talking with Sammy Prescott Jr. to come on next Monday and talk about calibration and basically focus in kind of on the calibration sequence again that was that he ran in here with the MadVR, the 3D LUT, all of his software and hardware and whatnot, calibrating the JVC NZ900. There's the lens behind me with the Panamorph and the MadVR and all that stuff in the system. So bring some questions next week. We'll basically let him kind of describe the calibration process and go over some of the details, specifics about what he did in here, process, what we achieved, and stuff like that. So hoping, unless something throws a monkey wrench in the plan, that will be next week, Monday, 5 o'clock. But yeah, otherwise, again, we've been gone. I've been gone outside doing stuff. So we barely turned on a TV in the last week. I think I actually watched last night after everything settled down. My wife was with my son for the evening to put him to bed. So I was actually just watching a little bit of YouTube. That was literally, I think, the only time our television turned on in the last week. So we haven't made any progress on Ironheart. I am still excited though. This is another commercial theater week. I hope we're after going to see Thunderbolts, I was feeling positive, like we were talking last week. I was feeling positive about the commercial theater experience. After seeing Superman, not so much. And I think that I don't think I'm going to enjoy the experience of watching Fantastic Four on release Friday. Even if we did buy, I'm going to take a couple hours off, cut the afternoon short. So we're going at 4 o'clock because we've got some other things going on later on in the evening and whatnot. And there wasn't good seats. I couldn't get the seats that I wanted at the 7 o'clock showing. So we're going to go at 4, do dinner and stuff after. But I have a feeling that that's going to be a packed theater, and we'll see if it's worth it or not. I'm still kind of curious as well to see how quick Superman comes out on Kaleidescape to be able to watch at home. I have a suspicion it'll be a little bit longer than Thunderbolts, but I was fairly disappointed after after paying to go see Thunderbolts when we could have just watched it at home. Um, so yeah, not a whole lot going on in the last week. I still have the same. My to do list is still the same. I still have the UPS for the projector sitting in the box. Maybe this weekend I'll finally get to that, because of course next weekend is busy yet again. Another multi-day long weekend trip with Audio Advice Live coming up. I'll be heading out for that, staying for the longer duration of the show. So hope to see some folks there. Have some fun there. I'm aware of some new product announcements and some other things that are supposed to be coming at the show. I'm sure the demos and stuff will be awesome. I know Audio Advice has been having some live streams. I haven't been able to watch any of them, but I have seen that they were being published, talking about teasing some of the things coming for the show and the experiences. So yeah, hopefully this weekend I can get the UPS in. Hopefully I'll film a video about that as I do it. I still have nothing on the living room. I think I need to pepper the one handyman with some calls. The texts aren't working. Maybe I should just take a hint and actually go shop somewhere else for some labor. But man, my goal is this year, if we can just get those speakers in and get that wall rebuilt this year, I will consider it a win. It's just so hard to find people to do stuff. So, but yeah, no real content consumption. The real the let's say the content experience that I did enjoy this last week wasn't tied to anything audio video. Actually going back and doing some old school like tabletop kind of role playing. So um, if you Google for the Marvel Multiverse RPG system, my son and I kind of made a discovery about that not that long ago, and he was super jazzed to try it out. Some of his buddies have been playing Dungeons and Dragons, and he's more into superheroes than fantasy. So we found the multiverse system, relatively new RPG system, and he was on me. He's like, "Can we get the books, Dad? Let's get the books. Let's get the books. Let's play." I'm like, it takes a lot. Like we need people. Just you and me alone. We can't play this game effectively. You need like a group. We got to figure out how to get your friends into a group. I don't know if the ladies of the household are really all that interested to um, play a tabletop role playing game. But I caved because I was interested in it as well, of course, and picked up the books, the core rule source book and stuff, and downloaded some of the other related materials. And we got to start during our vacation. We played a little bit more of like a first scenario campaign last night. I should contact Giles actually and and see. I don't know if anybody else in the YouTube community is into tabletop role playing. But yeah, we had some fun with it. So that's the thing that I've been kind of tinkering around with, experimenting around the most. I do think that while I was gone, it did look like the Apple TV updated. Um, I've got like automatic updates turned on now, so I'm not actually getting really much of an indication of when updates are coming. But I did look through just to double check when I turned it on last night. Because last night I was watching a YouTube video, um, primarily of people playing Marvel Multiverse because I was being like the game master, and I wanted to continue to kind of skill up and learn and research and stuff a bit. So I put that on the TV while I was doing some laptop work, and but I hopped in on the Apple TV into the settings menus, and I wasn't seeing anything indicating that like no new audio settings or stuff like that. So still continuing to wait out some of the OS 26 updates, uh, updates and all that. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about today. Just kind of checking in, saying hello. So let me know if you've got some questions you want to talk about. You got some topics for today. You've done some interesting things in your home theater the last week. Pop them in the comments, and we'll go as long as we can, as long as we can keep it interesting and have something to chat about. Again, lined up for the next few weeks. Hopefully, we'll get some stronger back into some stronger topics and actually some AV activities and stuff like that. Definitely do a recap of the Audio Vice Live experience afterwards. So just saying hello and answering some of these initial questions that came up here. Hi, Julius. Hey, to put a lot of the regulars here. Um, Sigmund, welcome. Good evening. Looking forward to your story about the teenagers leaving the cinema in a state. Oh yeah, I gave my daughter some. I gave my. I was actually trying to think. Actually, yeah, what I alluded to about this last week. I think it was when I came in here. Yeah, they were down here, and I've told these kids countless times. So if you look at the tour videos of the room, right? I've got one row of seats here, but we're sitting fairly far off the back wall. There's no reason for anybody but me to um, go behind the front row. I'll go stand back there sometimes, like if I have a bigger get together, I have a gathering and I'm running demos and stuff, because I'll, want people to sit in the seats. I'm not going to occupy a seat. So I'll go stand in the back, and I've got a nice little pass through. The updated chair video kind of shows that off as well. But yeah, when I came in here, if I look over like on the side here, it's probably hard to resolve, but like the both of the acoustic panels on the sidewall there were like hanging at like maybe like a 30-degree angle, and the stuff behind the seats was kind of obviously just like tossed back there. And we've had some of these kids down here watching movies with my daughter before, and um, I don't know what they did, but like the panel of the air purifier that I had behind me was like laying on the floor. It's like somebody bumped something, somebody knocked something off of something. Have some decency to like either put it back on or like let the person whose house you're in know that I was doing something. I was grabbing a blanket or a pillow. So we do keep the extra blankets, we keep the extra pillows, we keep the bean bags and stuff back there. But I was disappointed because I told them in the prior times, nobody has a reason to go back there, because nobody gets back there without bumping something. And then um, yeah, just respect things, right? It's just like such a simple matter of, you go into a space, leave it nicer than you found it. That's like a simple behavioral golden rule, and that wasn't happening down here. So I don't know. I might be cutting the teenagers off from the theater room the next time they're all here, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I came down and resituated everything and grabbed the level and re-leveled the acoustic panels. What I really should do, actually, because um, but my panels do shift. I think the bass energy over time, they they go a little cockeyed. I probably should get like some type of an L bracket or something, and even just a little bracket on the underside of the panel, screwed in to the wall, so that the panel doesn't like shift left or right, would probably hold it in place a little bit better. But yeah, and then so yeah, that was I guess the extent of that. But again, just kind of disappointed. You tell kids, you tell them something once, they don't do it the next time. And again, uh, lesson for my kids at least: have decency. You go into somebody's home, you use their stuff, you use their space, you're doing something. The parents are not around supervising you. Just leave the space as nice, at least as nice as, if not better than when you found it. Right? Fold a blanket that wasn't folded. um, just something simple, right? But yeah, so we'll see there. Julius, how good are you at skiing? Um, I don't know, probably better than I think I am, or not as good as I think I am. Maybe it's a better way to say that. Pretty good though. I'll ski blacks. I'll ski pretty much anything. Technique wise, I think I'm pretty decent. I'm not super good at like terrain parks and stuff. I'm not grinding rails effectively, and I'm not much of a jumper at all. I'll just kind of plop over some of the jumps. I'm not getting air and doing crosses and spinning and anything like that. But I can ski a pretty complex downhill sequence and be pretty comfortable pretty comfortable doing that. So it's fun. I really like skiing. We used to ski more like college, end of our college stint, undergrad stint, and then for several years after that, we would always take a ski weekend with friends and stuff like that. But then, adult life kicked in. We moved away, and certain friends um, had some other life changes and stuff, and we didn't. We stopped skiing for a long time, and then now that our kids, these last couple of years, we've been back into it. So I'm really digging it. I just bought all new equipment for this past last winter, this past winter. Um, so everybody actually now has all their stuff, and we're going to be looking to ski some more. Hopefully, get outside of Michigan as well. I suspect in the next couple of years we'll maybe get out east, get out west, and really get into skiing as more of a travel hobby, more of a focus kind of our time. So it's fun. I dig it. Um, Michael, does your theater beat local experiences? Heck yeah. um, Again, there's I don't know, Superman, the guy, the cackling dude behind me, the fact that there was like the bathroom situation after. It's like I'd rather watch it at home. And experience is just better. It's more intimate. Yeah, the big screen's kind of cool, and you kind of get lost and immersed into a full size IMAX screen. It has its virtues. It has its virtues for sure, but I don't think the sound is any better there. Um, just the large scale immersiveness of the screen. But in many ways, like I feel that I would rather be closer to a smaller screen than farther away from a bigger screen. Um, or just farther away in general. It always cracks me up when like friends in the hobby or other folks that I see that have theaters with like multiple rows and stuff, like choose to sit. They don't sit in the front row of their own theater. Like they'll sit in the back. They'll sit further back, or people with like bigger rooms and stuff. I like being 13 feet back from my screen. 163-inch scope screen. It's plenty big. It's got a nice field of view. I forget what my specific angle calculation is here, but I'm not turning my head to look around. I'm sitting comfortably. I have a nice full field of view, but I'm close. And I think being close to me adds it pulls me into the content more than being further away. The further you are, the further I am away from the display that I'm watching, the more detached I feel from the content that I'm experiencing. And I think it plays a role in the video, even and in the audio. The audio experience in here, I think, is um, way better than the Imagine, the EMX, both for. I mean, you got this big space, this big auditorium. Yeah, there's like whatever hundreds of speakers and things panning around or going speaker to speaker, but I don't think you really need all that. Um, I get plenty. We can get plenty of envelopment uh, impact, I think, in our spaces without having to have hundreds of individual speakers. Um, but it's clarity, it's detail and whatnot, and I can control the volume. That's another thing that I really bums me out sometimes in the commercial theaters when they run too hot and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just not, to me, that's worse than it being too low. I'd rather have it be too low than too loud. But I've never been um, a super loud noise type person. I didn't even like fireworks and stuff when I was a kid because of the booms and whatever. But detail and clarity matter to me. And then there's no tactile in the big one. Even my son said that at Superman. It's like he commented about I think it was during when they run like one of the Atmos demos at the theater there in the pre-roll and whatever. And yeah, you can really hear the sound going like speaker to speaker across an array of like 30 speakers in one row, front to back. He's like, yeah, that's pretty cool, but it just doesn't feel the same to watch a movie here in the audio that you get, because there's no tactile in a big room like that, despite all of the sound energy and bass power that they have. It just doesn't shake the seat. It doesn't hit you in the same way. So yeah, 100%. I would take this room over the commercial theater, 100%. And I would not even consider going to the commercial theater if we had true day and date availability, premium access, whatever you want to call it. if I could have watched Thunderbolts at the same moment, Superman at the same moment, if I could be watching Fantastic Four on Kaleidescape this weekend in here, I wouldn't go to the show at all. Wouldn't even consider it. Let's see. Chintapit. YouTube app on Apple TV, sometimes pictures, black screen and audio play. I haven't really experienced that. That sounds like some type of a app failure explicitly. I do watch a lot of YouTube on my Apple TV in the living room, and it's usually a pretty seamless experience. So I don't have a comment about that one. Sorry. Welcome, Bruno. Hello, hello. Oh no, Terminator, cat, man, cats. I could go on a whole tirade about cats. My cat just decided if she gets on one of the rear subwoofers, then she can jump on top of my rear acoustic panels, pull some threads out. Yeah, those cat claws. Yeah, I push very hard that this is a closed door room and our animals do not enter here. We have two cats right now, down to two. one of them may not be long actually for this world. We'll see, which is a shame and sad because he's the one of the two that remain. It's always the best ones that die earlier. It feels like when it comes to our multitude of cats that we've had. The one that is currently suffering from some congestive heart failure issues and may not be long for this world is the one that if we were down to one cat, he'd be the one that we would want to have because it's the other one that holds our entire house hostage with his habits, let's say. Unfortunately. So I don't know what's going to happen when the one goes. Are we? Is the family still committed to the other one, or not? I don't know what the long term decision is going to be there. But yeah, keep the cats out of the theater. I would fear cat claws. Definitely on these chairs. Cats jumping up or going like behind the curtain and jumping up on the shelves and stuff because they're going to want to go where it's high and like where it's warm. So that closet with that projector running would be a beacon for them. Oh, that reminds me actually the other thing that what my daughter did. She left the projector on the whole time. That's right. That was my other frustration with the kids. So from Saturday night to Monday, when I came in here to do the stream, yeah, the projector was on that entire time. So if nothing else, though, she proved that I don't have to worry about it overheating because if it was going to overheat, it would have then. It was basically sitting at the Apple TV menu for what is that 30, 40 hours, burning up the laser for no reason. I should prorate it, take it out of her lawn mowing payment fund. Michael Boomer Jeremy going to start saying back in my day. Yeah. Oh, we did. I remember going to Block. Actually, I don't think do we ever yeah, I guess at some point in time, I'm probably old enough that we had to have rented VHS movies, but I remember it more by the time like at least in my married life, my adult married life would have been DVDs. But in my childhood, yeah, we had VHS. I wish I still had some of those Star Wars VHS copies that I had so long ago. Probably donated, tossed away in one of our earlier moves, and now worth like thousands of dollars, if not more. Sigmund, let's see, just going through comments again. If you got questions, you got stuff. I don't just catching up on some folks that have been joining. I don't have a whole ton to talk about. It's been a really quiet week here. Spent the last 4 or 5 days in northern Michigan, Traverse City, Glen Arbor, Thompsonville, and related areas. So I've been out and about doing things outside, family time, all that stuff. Been playing Marvel, tabletop RPGs. Not a lot of audio video going on this last week. It's going to change though. Things are prepped to change coming up. So if you got some topics, you got some questions, fire them up, and we'll hang out and just have some fun here for the hour and call it a day. So Sigmund recently bought a Synology. Started ripping Blu-ray discs. Oh man, there might be some folks in the chat that have opinions about ripping discs and the Kaleidescape. To play via Infuse, that's cool. Blown away by my subs now. Oh yeah, compared to streaming. Do you use a ZD or Apple TV? I don't use either one. So I actually don't really advise going the ripping route anymore. I've been actually kind of contemplating making this video because it's interesting. I have the content on the channel that talks about the topic, but it depending on like if you watch those videos, you may surmise that that I'm into that part of the hobby, and I'm really not. Um, I really made the videos. It's probably about 18 months ago now, so those videos are starting to age a little bit as well, and talking about like the players and the jailbroken Oppo and the process of ripping more to kind of like shine a light on some of its complexities and challenges and stuff like that. That said, I think depending on your system, right, Infuse, I think is a really great app um, for accessing local content. I do still have some level of some very modest quantity of ripped content on my servers. But the only thing that I have ripped, the only thing that I maintain ripped is stuff that is inaccessible other ways. Basically, like old 80s cartoons, some Japanese uh, variations of some older 80s cartoons. They're actually like three series of Transformers in the 80s that never aired here. Um, GI Joe cartoons, which are like something somewhat on iTunes, but they're incomplete. Actually, the original 80s GI Joe Real American Hero, you can't buy the entirety of the season um, on on iTunes. Godzilla is I have the whole like Godzilla Legacy collection from the original like whatever 1950 was it 54 film. You can't find those movies. They are a little more represented on iTunes, I think, as of the last year or two. They're not on Kaleidescape, unfortunately. So I don't actively rip and build a ripped library. I maintain a small collection of ripped content purely for the purposes of preservation of content that I really like and want to have access to, that if I didn't maintain it myself, I wouldn't be able to access it. Other than that, I wouldn't bother. Um, the process of doing it, I don't have time for it. Um, it's error prone and fraught with troubles and hassles that I no longer have the time and patience for in my life. I have other things to do, um, too many other things to do. I found that when I was ripping, I was spending far too much time doing that, just administering content rather than actually watching movies and enjoying content. So I made the transition off of my server. I hit delete on a massive ripped library of content back in whatever it was 20. I was feel like I want to say it was 2016, but I think it was 2018. It was like 7-ish years ago, 7 8 years ago, and that's when I bought my first Kaleidescape, and I haven't looked back with any regret or uh, or any trouble. So I've been primarily using Kaleidescape as my digital as my movie library, where I built my movie library, where we primarily watch movies off of in our spaces, in our home theater, um, and upstairs as well. Sometimes I am going to put a second player in there when I get the rest of the other project done. But I wouldn't advise anybody um, start a major ripping campaign nowadays, like procuring discs. Um, Always the risk factor of like changing uh, copy protection schemas and stuff like that. Um, Discs they're harder to get. Not everything gets released on disc as well compared to like digital releases. Discs are getting more expensive. I keep seeing a lot of postings about like the price of certain 4K releases compared, to the digital price and stuff like that. Um, but some people really, on the other hand, as well, got to be play devil's advocate, right? Some people really dig it, and if you have the time, you want to invest the time, you want to spend, an hour per movie, and you're prepared to go through the complexities of um, dealing with subtitles and file management, and did you get all the right assets and playlist obfuscation and uh, putting perfectly brand new, good looking discs into your drive to rip them, and then having it catch and churn and fail. Um, that you got to get that brand new release exchanged or returned to try to get another copy of that disc. I don't have the time for it. And then all the other player concerns. I can't. I know some people really like the Z-Dos, the Arvolutions. There's options out there. There's other ways to go with your own Plex servers and stuff like that. I've never experienced anybody talking about the experience of a Zedo or anything like it being as reliable as a Kaleidescape. Plex prepared to do the work and put in the time. So I don't have um, I don't have to answer your question, I guess directly. Do you use a Zedo? I do not. I don't have any other player. My home theater video sources um, are Apple TV and Kaleidescape. That's it. So if and when I ever do want to play something that I do have ripped to my server, in that case, I just use Apple TV and Infuse, and I don't care that it doesn't have immersive audio. For the rare movie that may actually be ripped, but it may be an Atmos, I'll just use the up mixer. I don't care. I'm not jumping through hoops just to get real Atmos on a potentially very small quantity of content that I may actually use it for. And most of the stuff that I probably actually have ripped anyway and would play probably isn't an immersive audio to begin with. It's probably like 5.1 or 7.1. And in that case, Infuse already will decode the bitstream audio from that source file and output it as 5.1 or 7.1 PCM. That's a lossless conversion. I'm still getting the lossless audio if in fact the lossless audio was there. So that's plenty good for me. I really like the Apple TV. Infuse is awesome in the Apple ecosystem because it works consistently across your iPhone, your iPad, your Apple TV, and your Mac. It's serverless as well, so basically all of the uh, content, metadata and stuff like that is managed through iCloud. So I think there's a lot of virtues to it. But depending on how large scale you want to go with your presentation, your collection, the formats and stuff that you're going to use, that's why people opt to get like NVIDIA Shield and Plex. Well, I hear a lot of problems. I hear a lot of complaints about people that go that way. Or you get your Zedo, your Evolution player, and stuff like that. So you really got to decide for yourself, like how deep do you want to go down this path? How much of a library do you want to build up? How much hands-on role do you want to play in perfecting the way it looks and presents and all that stuff? Yeah, those are the kind of questions to ask yourself to decide between do you get a dedicated player, right, or do you just kind of use the Apple TV, maybe use what you already have? Paul saying, yeah, we go to the theater often. Again, Superman big theater experience was definitely underwhelming. Yeah. Again, I think it can vary a lot, just movie to movie, based on who you have the luck of the draw to be seated amongst, and how big of how full or empty the theater may be. The last couple movies actually that we've gone to in the theater, Superman aside, have been very weakly attended to the point where again we were like one of a dozen people in the theater. So in that case, it felt pretty private. Nobody was even around us. Nobody was constantly walking past us, in front of us, and stuff like that. Um, but that's going way back to like Bad Guys and Super Mario. Um, we didn't go to the Imagine for Bad Guys because we had some passes. I think my aunt gave us some passes that she wasn't going to use. So it's like, oh, we'll use them. We'll go see a movie. And we went. I forget the name. Forget the name of that theater chain. It's up M5 in like 13 mile, 14 mile. Um, there was nobody there then. I don't think Mario was too bad. But that other AMC experience for the Minions was terrible as well. So I just wish we could, man, I just wish we had day and date. Just give us day and date for everything. Please. We were going that way during COVID, but then it feels like things have kind of snapped back a little bit. And the only way we get super premium access is if the theatrical run of a piece of content fails. So let's see. Mars 73. Thanks for the Strato E. Definitely great experience. Awesome. I'm glad that you are pleased. Yeah, I'm a bit of a homer with this, um, but I talk about Kaleidescape because I like it. I don't like it because I sell it. I didn't start selling it until 7 years after I had been a very heavily invested owner. That goes for almost everything that I have in the theater as well. So adding the dealer element to the channel is something that evolved organically after the fact. Um, opportunities that came out of the opportunities that came out of the channel. But been a happy advocate of the platform for a long time, and it's exactly what I needed it to be for me. Because again, I was probably overcommitted to the point where I was like digital hoarding content. I was ripping stuff just to rip stuff, and like, oh, I've got like 8,000 movies on my server, and never watched like any of it. Spent all my time, my evening time, sitting at my computer, feeding discs and parsing playlists and MKVs. It's like, this is not healthy. This isn't where I should be spending my time. I just want to, I want to watch and enjoy my movies. I want to do it seamlessly, elegantly. Yeah, to each their own. I'm definitely, and I've commented on this before. I'm at a point in my life. I'm almost 50. Two jobs, two kids, wife, family, aging parents, all this stuff going on in life. Like my the thing that's most important to me right now is time. Absolutely, 100%. It's time. So not everybody is in that same situation. Other folks may have an abundance of time. Um, I have very limited time. So paying for things that buy me time is immensely valuable to me, especially when they're things that I don't enjoy or no longer enjoy, aka cutting the grass and stuff like that. Paul, do you have a video that shows how to save a scene in a Kaleidescape movie? Has a chance to look. No, I never really made. I'm overdue. They've been on my content to do list for so long to make like a scene guide and a script guide as well. Um, to be honest, I don't really make scenes. Like personally, I don't think I have any custom scenes on any movies that I have downloaded in my case setup. Um, by and large, the already tagged scenes fit the bill for my interest of like anything that I would want to jump into and watch. So I haven't felt compelled to make my own scenes. I think it is a really cool element of the platform, though, that you're able to do that. If I gave you a high level uh, how to, essentially, the movie has to be downloaded. It has to be done on the K player itself. So building a scene isn't something that you can do like externally. You can build scripts. You build scripts in the web UI, but scenes are done on the device itself. So you would play the movie, you would get it to the point where you would want the scene fundamentally to start. Pull up the menu pops up off of the bottom, and if you go over to the scenes section of that menu, there you'll have an option to basically start it or like start a new scene, and then you can from there. It's pretty intuitive actually to be able to play through to where you would want the scene to stop and then finish it. You can key in a name and stuff for it, and then it'll show up and be there in the list of scenes available for the movie. If you don't want it later, you can delete it. So it's basically like just adding a piece of metadata to the movie. But the key important element is if you movie has to be downloaded, do it on the player, play the movie, get to the start of the scene, use the menu, and you should be able to follow the sequence there. But that's something I should have a video for. Like it is a fundamental part of the system, and then building scripts, which is a really cool function of the system as well. I use scenes a lot. Again, the built-in ones, because largely I'm usually well, like family time. We're going to watch a movie. I'm the first one down here. Maybe my son is also. He comes down with me. We're waiting for the girls. um, we'll play scenes. We'll watch a scene or two from something of interest that's already on the system, or of course doing demos and stuff like that. If somebody's in here looking at the system, looking at a piece of equipment or whatever, get together, friends, hanging out. I'll use scenes a lot for that. I don't tend to use scripts much either, just by virtue of the fact that if I'm going through a bunch of scenes myself, I'm probably talking to the person that I'm showing these scenes to, and so I don't just want them to play back to back to back until the very end. Um, if I'm doing a demo where I would do something like script-ish, we would play a scene, we would talk about something. I may ask them if there's something specific they want to see, rather than just um, having it being in like a fixed list. So But I should do both of those videos. I'm definitely overdue for both of them. Terminator. The IMAX in Grand Rapids has a legit 70 millimeter film projector. Yeah, it looks incredible, but there's no LFE at all. Yep. Yeah, you just can't feel it in that kind of room. But yeah, the video presentation, big IMAX video presentation is awesome. Yeah, yeah, yep, yeah, she did. They left. So she contends that she shut it off, and I believe that she knows how to do that because she's gotten instruction about using the Halo remote and and whatnot, and they'll come down here and they're able to navigate the Kaleidescape or the Apple TV, pick a movie, watch a movie, change the volume. So I'm sure she knows how to shut it off. Maybe what she did do though is maybe she didn't confirm it, is what I'm thinking. She pushed the off button, walked out, um, and didn't actually confirm it on the remote. So yeah, my ex left my Sony projector on with the blue screen for 24 hours. Oh, the bulb was toast. Oh no, a whole bulb just for that. So it must have got too hot then, because that obviously isn't. It's not a total number of hours that would have compromised the bulb, but maybe heat build up for such a long period of time. Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was bummed. But I pulled up. I have a temperature sensor in the closet there, which I did the videos on it when I put it in there because there was a lot of conjecture. Um, when I first put the projector in there, like, is there enough breathing room? How close is it to the side wall or the back wall of the closet? And how close is the curtain in front of it? You know, and I was legit concerned, like, is it going to overheat in there? And it hasn't at all. It definitely warms up, but it stays like 70, I think maybe 80-degree Fahrenheit. It doesn't really get above that. And so I was trying to check, like, oh man, like what built up temperature wise in the probe. Luckily, as well, it's been warm, so our air conditioning's been on. We're in the basement. The basement is always naturally cooler, and then with that plus the AC blowing, it's always chilly down here. So I think that probably worked in the favor of it not getting too hot. Terminator as well. Just started my ripping journey. Yep, getting an ass from work. Happy with the Z2. Yep, love physical media. So yep, again, to each their own. I couldn't do it anymore. I hit my limit of patience and time. So Michael, welcome, Michael. Will an Apple TV hardware upgrade interest you? Or are you mainly looking to tvOS at this point for improvements? Yeah, I don't know what new hardware would bring as well. I'll buy it just because. It's likely not going to be that expensive. You know, maybe whatever. If they maintain the same price points and a new Apple TV is 150 bucks, yeah, I'll sell the other one on. I'll sell my old ones. I only need two of them. I'll sell the old ones on Facebook Marketplace for 80 bucks, and you know, pay whatever less than a couple $100 out of pocket for the upgrade. Even if it's just the processor, RAM, speed, response, stuff like that, so be it. If there ends up being software features that matter, I would have been more inclined or more drawn to a new Apple TV hardware in the past because we were using it to game. We don't really do that as much anymore though. Um, Sneaky Sasquatch is still pretty cool, but it's kind of fallen off. My son is now into more mature um, mature titles that we're playing together, right? Like Marvel Rivals and Spider-Man, stuff like that. Playing on the PC. So we really do our gaming on the PC now, not so much on the Apple TV anymore. So whatever they may think they would do with gaming, unless Apple goes the full route of like, let's make an M4 full console style box, that's going to be a serious contender, serious gaming contender. And even then, I don't think I would probably buy it because the PC is going to still be better. And I'm pretty fully invested on the PC at this point. It would take a lot to change off of the PC. So I don't know. I don't know what they could do. There's the rumors about the cameras and stuff for video conferencing. That wouldn't even matter to me. My Apple TVs are not, they're not installed in locations where a camera would even function. Even if I wanted to use the Apple TV for video conferencing purposes, which I really don't. Um, I don't know. I don't know what it would be if in fact it requires new hardware to do higher level video and audio codec and fidelity type of support. If it takes a new Apple TV to actually be able to output like Apple Music lossless formats at their highest fidelity, stuff like that, I'd be inclined I'd be inclined to buy it. But again, for me, I'm biased anyway because I'd want to talk about it on the channel. Um, many people um, are interested in the Apple TV. I probably should. If I really want to grow the channel, let's put it this way. If I was just after like the views, or whatever, I'd probably be spitting out like redundant Apple TV content 2 or 3 times a week just because the topic is of such higher interest. But I think it's still the best device out there for what it does, so I'll be buying it anyway. But we'll see. It'll be interesting if in fact it does come. What could it be? What could the unique proposition or element of it be? I just hope it has a similar form factor so it slides into my same wall mount. I don't have to change the wall mount. Sigmund saying he's happy with his Apple TV. Likely just use that. Yeah. Use that money and put it toward a Lumigen for the Epson LS12000. Yeah, that would be a video processor for the 12,000 probably is a good buy. Get you some HDR, HDR dynamic tone mapping and all that stuff. That would be a big improvement for sure. And then depending on your screen, if you have a scope screen, aspect ratio management features, stuff like that would be worth more probably in your setup. Once depending on the dynamics of your projection setup, and I'll say this, I made the videos before where I didn't feel I really needed a video processor, um, because particularly because of a unique combination of Kaleidescape, what the JVC projector can do with its own frame by frame tone mapping, and then Control 4. I could approximate a lot of what the video processor I could approximate a number of things that the video processor could do, because again, I had dynamic tone mapping already. Kaleidescape already made sure that the subtitles were not off the screen. It can make sure that the subtitles are always within the screen space. So at least for scopes content, I never missed subtitles, but I still had to do lens memory. I tried to automate that stuff. It just doesn't work as well. The video processor makes the whole operation of certain theater logistics seamless. So I pulled this up, but I didn't actually read it. I think Michael Kaleidescape was the best audio investment I made in my theater. Yep. Wish I'd listened earlier. That's generally what folks say. It sounds cliche, but by and large, the majority of the folks that have come to me to get one and then get it and then report back what they think about it is that should have done it sooner. Shouldn't have hemmed and hawed and debated on it. And in fact, like most folks, if they spend a lot of time debating it, the bummer is that they spent all that time probably continuing to buy movies elsewhere. They continued to buy physical media, they can whatever. Whereas if they would have had the Kaleidescape account, they could have gotten started with their transitioning and buying new content there. So the longer you wait and the more stuff that continues to be released, the more that you're like double buying or spending again, at least potentially with this to digital or something like that. Yeah, probably biggest convenience too. That's what it is. Like for me is the convenience and accessibility and the peace of mind that it's the highest fidelity source overall that you can get in the hobby with no work and no effort and pretty generally speaking rock solid reliability. Infamous PKO, that's a new name. Welcome. Is SSD worth getting? Is the SSD worth giving up for more terabyte in the Terra Prime servers with them being the same price? So yeah, the 8 terabyte SSD model is now less with this. I think. Well, what are we in Q3? Yeah, with Q3 price changes, um, the compact Terra Prime SSD is $69.95 MSRP. The compact Terra Prime 12 terabyte with the spinning hard disk is $69.95. So same price with SSD versus giving up 4 terabytes. So I do get this question a lot. I talk through this with folks a lot when they call or when we're chatting about Kaleidescape and like specking out a system. Of course, everybody is usually very interested in SSD. To me, I feel that the SSD is a harder sell, and that reason is if the unit is going into a home It's going to sit in a rack. It's not going to move around. They're already using very high reliability hard disk drives. They have 5-year warranties on the stuff. Most folks, for the money, I would think, and this goes for me as well, would value more capacity, because you're going to build up a library in time on the platform. If you even remotely like it, once you get into it, you're going to build up your library, and operating with the server is the superior experience, hands down. Not to say that standalone mode is terrible. It's not terrible by any means, but operating with the server is a superior experience. Having the movie wall, having more content at your fingertips, using scenes, using collections, the list view, right? There's a variety of benefits to being able to just press play on a larger base of favorite content or ready to watch content that you haven't seen yet, but you've got it queued up and downloaded and ready to go. So more often than not, capacity trumps anything that the SSD server would do. Um, if you have the internet speed to support it, yeah, the SSD servers can download faster, but we're talking about maybe the peak download that you could accomplish on an SSD server could be about 4 to 6 minutes. The peak download speed that you could accomplish on an HDD server on a 2.5G connection is what, maybe 8-ish minutes. Does that matter? Um, I would consider both of those download speeds to be fundamentally on demand. Um, right, none of them are press play and go. It's not streaming. You have to wait some period of time, and to me, waiting 4 versus 8 minutes doesn't change the calculus. Now, waiting 45 minutes, like I had to do years ago when I had a like prior generation Strato S player, made the platform unusable for us because we do make snap decisions that we want to watch this movie. Maybe we didn't already own it. Maybe it's a newer release. We hadn't bought it yet. And we need to press download. And we don't have 45 minutes to wait to get a 2 or 3 hour movie started in terms of its playback, right? We got to get started now, or at least within 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes is what it takes for making popcorn, using the restroom, and collecting everybody in the room and ready to press play on the movie. Um, Having the movie downloaded in 4 minutes versus 10 for me doesn't change the calculus. But that 4 terabyte will hold another 80-ish movies, 75-ish movies. Um, that's a pretty, that's the whole Bond series and the MCU at your fingertips. Would you rather have that, or would you rather have slightly faster downloads? I think the SSD matters more. Excuse me. If you're in an application where it's an RV, it's a boat, it's a plane, it's a harsh environment for noise, vibration, harmonics, heat, and stuff like that, where the life cycle of the spinning hard drive could be compromised. But we don't have that, generally speaking, if you're in a home and the server's going in a rack. Um, so yeah, most folks I think would value capacity over anything that the SSD is doing. But send me a note if you want to talk more about it offline. I've got Jeremy at techthusiasm.net, and we can kind of chat through if you're interested in picking it up. If you didn't know, of course, I am a dealer for them. I actually dealer for coming up on almost like 30 AV brands now. A lot of stuff that I own and use and like in my own space is primarily what I focus on. Kaleidescape, of course, is a major element of that. So happy to get you um, hooked up there. Yeah, most cases the HDD version is better. Julius, are you planning on recording the renovation of your living room? Yeah, as much as possible. Like I going into like the actual construction type work, it always sounds like sexier to say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna vlog this whole thing and we're gonna work on it. I'm gonna get the camera out. Then the reality is like you just kind of have to sometimes fit bits and pieces of work in at times where to get stuff done where you just want to get it done, and trying to record too much like slows things down. And so there's a it's not risk reward, but there's trade-offs involved in trying to turn content, right, or trying to make content sometimes. So I definitely want to talk about it, at least, and certainly the plan and the stages and whatnot. I am hiring out again, most of the labor. So I don't know if in some respect, like, there could be people here working on it when I'm at the office and I'm not here to be able to record them. There's also a potential matter of, like, I don't know that those people may want to be recorded, doing the work. If they say no, or if I ask them and they say no, then I need to respect that. But I'll definitely, like, stage vlog it as we go through. I'll do as much as I can to cover it because I think it'll be interesting to have that wall pulled down. I think it'll be, interesting lesson learned for myself from we designed that wall the first time. Why did we design it the way we did? Why am I now having to spend money to tear it up and fix it? Um, things have changed and circumstances are different and audio formats and the size of the televisions available today is are much bigger than they were 13 years ago. 13 years ago, was I really conceiving of a 100-inch plus flat panel potentially in that room? Not really. If I would have thought of something that big, it would have been 13 years ago. It was a projector, not a flat panel. So I didn't have the foresight to expect that 98-inch televisions would be readily available for a couple $1,000s today. um, or what future type of in-wall setup and stuff that I may conceive of, or how I would be using the room and gaming and stuff like that. So um, you can only prematurely optimize your setup so much. But yeah, so I want to cover all of it to the best of my ability to do so. The only challenge is sometimes getting the footage and vlogging the work can be tough. Michael, do you think we'll ever see community social features on KOS, like sharing library files? Yeah, I hope so. I think that would be cool to be able to have like a Kaleidescape friends list, to be able to see what your friends are watching, make recommendations, stuff like that. Be able to like send somebody a scene, which would be pretty cool. Well, Paul earlier talking about wanting to make a custom scene. He's got another friend that is into Kaleidescape, and you could do like a share, out of the Kaleidescape app or something. You could like share a scene in a text message to a friend, and then they click it and goes through the Kaleidescape app, connects to the player, and then logs that scene right into that movie on your system. There's a lot there's a lot of cool things that could be done in software, um, and like social features, going forward. Of course, some of that stuff already does get shared, like on Kscape Owners Forum, right? You can export scripts, and share scripts around. So there are some elements of that, but yeah, I think it'd be cool to have like a K community, right? Even be able to do like, um, well, they kind of like do it with on Apple TV, where you can do like a watch party kind of thing. It could be fun. Like if we all of us with Kaleidescapes, we could do like a Techthusiasm watch party for a new release or something. Because I'm sure that if they had a social list or friends list and something like that, I'd be able to be like a watch group or something like that. I could chair a watch group, and that'd be pretty neat. So I think features like that are far behind a lot of other core core operational elements that they may be working on. But I think these kind of features are definitely like they make engagement more fun and they make the platform more fun. So I think there's certainly elements of value for them to pursue something like that. So obviously I can't comment on anything if even if I was aware of something, but I don't really get forward information anyway. So anything that we're talking about here is just kind of musings on what could happen. Um, right, coming up on the hour actually here, as we kept the conversation pretty lively. We'll get these last couple of comments. We'll get close to calling it a day. Get some dinner. Get my son off to his activity. I want to go back to this one second. So one thing that I do think that like group context for techie stuff is cool. And in fact, actually, I've been starting. My son and I, we do on our tonal, we do partner workouts a lot. So tonal has friends. Tonal actually has a really nice community system involved. Um, and actually, I would say it's so good that even like Kaleidescape could go look at like what tonal is doing for a workout community and emulate some of those things, translate them differently, but emulate some of that stuff um, to a movie watching ecosystem as well. But I was actually contemplating a week or so ago that like, oh man, I want another tonal because I work out with my son and my daughter sometimes as well. And I've mentioned to my wife a bunch. It's like you're pressed for time, I'm pressed for time. Like if I do a 45-minute workout in the morning and you do a 45-minute workout in the morning, that's an hour and a half that we both need to get on it. And I got a meeting, she's got somewhere to be. Who's getting on it first? Who's getting up super early, earlier than the other one potentially, right? There's a lot of challenges and stuff involved. But on the tonal, you can do a partner workout where if I'm in a program, I can pick a routine, but we started as a partner and I pick like my son's profile. Usually it's the other way. I have my own program going, I'm doing my own training. He'll have his own program, but I train with him to like teach him and work with him along the way because he's just getting started in like the concept of working out and bodybuilding and whatever. So he'll start his routine for the day. You click partner workout, I click my profile, and then it it lets us both do the same program or both do the same routine. And so if it's a 40-minute routine, maybe it takes like 65 minutes for us both to do it because we have to access the machine independently. If it's a motion off of the tonal that we do it at the same time, it's like push-ups or burpees or something, we can do that at the same time. But if it's an on tonal thing, like he goes because it's his routine and then I go and it adjusts the weights. So I'm lifting my proper weight, he's lifting his proper weight. But they also have a concept of starting a routine as what they call a group workout. And when you do that, it generates a code that somebody else on their own tonal can input that code. And now we're working the same routine at the same time on our independent tonals together. It's like, oh man, I want two of these because now if we had two of them, we could move them to the other wall of the basement. That wall is split with our generators, transfer switches, but like we could put one on the left, we could put one on the right. There's room there. And now when we work out, we could do a group instead of a partner. And I could do this with my wife as well. We could get a 45-minute routine done in 45 minutes because we'll both be doing the on tonal stuff at the same time. So pretty cool concepts. That they're doing on that machine, and everything is online and connected, and you got your app and you got your profile, stuff like that. I think there's a lot of cool stuff, inspiration that could be taken by Kaleidescape from there. But I mean, that feature alone has me like wanting to open, and my general love for this machine because it's absolutely freaking fantastic. Um, has me wanting to open my wallet and buy another one, buy a second one, because the usability would shoot through the roof. And again, all the health impact and stuff, the value that we're getting out of it would be magnified. All right, last couple questions. Michael, do you know how much about Control 4 X4? No, I have talked with Dan, and we just got to get a date. He's going to come back. I'm going to get my X4 upgraded, and then I'll be able to actually talk about this stuff and show it off. Probably after we do the X4, I could even see like having Dan on a Monday, get like Dan on a Monday stream. I mentioned this to him when he was here before, and like let's talk all about X4, show it off and what it's doing and talk about some of the integrations and stuff. So at this point, like I don't have it yet and I know nothing. I know every time I open the Control 4 app, it's like, did you know this was available? Yeah, like I know I want it. I got to get them over here and we got to get set up to do that. Sigmund, just give us an Apple TV that can download full quality. Yeah, I don't think I don't think we'll ever get, well, never say never, but um I don't think that we'll go back to the days of like downloading on Apple TV. I think Apple's pretty well set on the streaming path. But that said, never say never. Who knows what it? There's always been an ability for them to make an Apple TV Pro, right? And that Pro could be more expensive, more hardware, more capabilities, more features, and who knows what it could do. Um, for all intents and purposes, I think it's reasonable to surmise that an Apple TV Pro, could effectively be a Kaleidescape. But they've never indicated anything towards that path. Never read a rumor about anything towards that path either. Infamous, yeah. Oh, you already have a Strato V. Yep, decided I want to get a server. Been leaning towards more capacity than download speed. Yeah, so if I can help you with that server, please reach out, Jeremy, techthusiasm.net. We can talk offline and get you hooked up with that. Salman, welcome. They could do the entire movie theater experience where before the movie show, upcoming movie trailers. Yeah, that would be another cool like customization to be able to choose to do in the ecosystem as well. I agree. Terminator. Yep, no, you're about to end. Thoughts on Trinoff? Yeah. Um, yeah, a lot of people have brought that up. To be honest, like I think the Anthem stuff is so good. um, like it's so usable, and the results that you get out of it are like reliably good. You have corroboration of that fact with like um, even some of like the higher tech reviews and stuff out there, Audioholics and um, what's the I forget the name of the other forum. Um, like I think it's such legit good gear that, and I don't have, I don't have 30 channels in here. I don't have 10 subwoofers. I don't have a subwoofer for every speaker. Um, so yeah, over the years, I've debated the value of like spending so much more money on an audio processor. What can it really do? Can it really be that much better? Um, than particularly what the AVM 90 is already doing. But that said, I will say that I have some conversation kind of started in this area, and I'm hoping to. I need to follow up on it actually because it's kind of gone a little silent. Um, I do want this is something that I do want to explore a little bit more, and I am potentially interested in. I do agree with like fundamentally with everything that I have in here now to be like the highest of the highest end. It's like, why not? Why not just run a Trinoff in here? It would be on par with everything else that I have, the Full Cal Utopia level, the NZ 900 level, and all that stuff. Um, so stay tuned. I don't think so. I don't. And the other thing too, I don't want to make it sound like I'm like talking down about Trinoff in any way. I think it's sweet. I think it's cool. I think it's super techy. I think it's really advanced. I think it hits a lot of the same merits that like Mad VR hits of being expandable, upgradable, software driven, super super powerful. Like all that stuff is really sweet. Um, but you pay a lot of premium to be able to step up from even from like an AVM 90 level to that. It's more than 2x the price. So, but I have discussion and potential plans afoot. So we'll see where those go. I can't say much more about it right now, but I have some ideas in mind about this very topic, and so we'll see what happens. Cool. All right, I need to get upstairs, get on with the evening, get on with the family, eat some dinner, and yeah. So this was a fun one. Thanks everybody for coming out. Great conversation. And next week, all goes well, we'll be talking with Sammy Prescott Jr. about the video calibration, Mad VR lens, projector calibration process, chain, 3D LUTs, and all the stuff that was done in here. Audio Advice Live is coming up next week as well. I hope to see some folks there. Um, Probably the Monday after Audio Device Live makes sense to do a show recap. I will have that streaming bitrate comparison content coming soon. Get some of the other things done. Hopefully, get the other projects upstairs kicked off. So, lots of fun stuff ahead. Thanks for coming out. Thanks, Julius. Thanks, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. Yeah, thanks. Coming back for more home theater discussion and fun. Bye.